你们看我身后的这些网约车，还有满大
Look
街
at the
的外卖
ride-hailing
骑手
cars behind me and the delivery drivers on the streets. Do you know what the last safety net in society is right now? It's not social welfare. It's not charity. It's these delivery people and ride-hailing drivers behind me. Young people who can't find jobs end up delivering food. Graduates from vocational schools and junior colleges have sent out hundreds of resumes, but they get no replies, so they buy an electric bike and start delivering food. Middle-aged people whose businesses failed, who lost all their savings and even mortgaged their homes, end up driving ride-hailing cars. Former small business owners and self-employed people who suddenly fell from the top now drive around the city making 10 or 8 yuan per ride. There are also those middle-aged managers, over 40, unemployed for months, with no one hiring them because they're too old, too expensive, or too well-educated. In the end, they also start driving for ride-hailing. These three groups make up the majority of delivery and ride-hailing drivers, totaling tens of millions of people. What does that mean? It's like the entire population of a medium-sized country. If these people didn't have delivery and ride-hailing jobs, where would they go? In contemporary China, as the traditional job market sharply shrinks, the 84 million unemployed people desperately find that the only industries that still offer them some chance of employment seem to be ride-hailing and food delivery. So, these two industries have become the last refuge for tens of millions of people, and they've also become a pressure cooker full of exploitation, competition, and potential crises.
Do
you believe me? In Hangzhou, many ride-hailing rental cars have actually been rented out. Hard to find a car? You heard me right. In a situation where prices are low and it's so hard to make money, the cars are gone. There are just too many people out of work. People who used to work on construction sites, run small businesses, deliver food but can't keep up, factory workers laid off, even office white-collar workers, and those in e-commerce or clothing industries. They're all crowding into ride-hailing. Do you think everyone is optimistic about this industry? No, they're just desperate. They're renting cars to just keep going. It's not that they don't mind losing money, it's that they're more afraid of sitting at home, anxious, and doing nothing. That's why the cars are rented out. It's not a sign of industry recovery. It's just a group of people with no other options fighting for the last seat. But sitting in that seat isn't secure. A recent survey by Finance magazine revealed the deep vulnerability of this group. 77% of ride-hailing drivers switched to this job after losing theirs, and 62.8% are the sole earners in their families. They're not just working for themselves, they're supporting their whole family. This heavy sense of responsibility forces them to accept extremely low pay and high labor intensity with no other choice. A frequent passenger remarked,
When I'm sitting in the back of the car, I see the driver in front of me. He doesn't say anything, doesn't talk to me. It feels like I'm in a car with a machine that has no emotions.
This silence is a silent protest, a numbness caused by being suffocated by life. However, this desperate influx has led to a decline in service quality and significant public safety risks. One woman shared her terrifying ride-hailing experience.
Honestly, I don't know who's driving these cars now. Do these platforms even provide any training? Have they checked the driving skills of these drivers? I rarely complain because I know making money is hard for everyone, but this driver really shocked me. I was going from Hongqiao to my place, and he made 2 wrong turns. He got off the highway, then got back on, and after getting back on, he took the wrong exit again. He was driving at 40 kilometers per hour on the highway, and I tolerated it twice. I said, "Driver, you can't drive at 40 kilometers per hour on the highway. Aren't you risking my life?" Then I asked, "Driver, is your vision bad at night?" He said, "Yes." I said, "If your vision is bad at night, don't drive at night because it's unsafe." He said, "I have no choice. Don't worry. I've been driving for 20 years. When I heard that, I just thought, whatever. I was alone, and if there were any conflict and he turned violent, it wouldn't be worth it.
No choice. Those words tell the story of countless drivers suffering. They know the risks, but to survive, they have no choice but to put both their own and others' safety at risk. What's even more alarming is that when prices are pushed to the extreme, drivers' survival strategies also become extreme. An industry insider expressed deep concern. The price per ride for ride-hailing really can't drop any further. If it does, I feel like this industry has no hope, and something big is bound to happen. You know what I feel right now? I really hope the leaders in the relevant departments will see this video. Honestly, I'm now dealing with drivers who are quitting, who can't keep going. I'm even helping them fix their cars. I feel like the drivers are really in a terrible situation. When I first started in 2018, what was the fare? Over 2 or 3 yuan per kilometer. Everyone treated it like a real job, and now it's just a little over 1 yuan per kilometer, and some orders don't even pay 1 yuan per kilometer. With such low prices, the drivers who are still on the road only have one choice: to reduce their operating costs by any means necessary. For the drivers, in order to maintain the same income as before, there are only two options. First, they trade their health for money. What used to be earned from one side now takes 2 or more rides to earn back. The only solution is to extend their working hours, with being on the road for 10 or more hours a day becoming normal. But think about it. How can a driver who has been driving for over 10 hours continuously ensure the safety of pedestrians and passengers? Second, they sacrifice safety to cut costs. If the tires are worn out, they don't replace them. They skimp on vehicle maintenance whenever they can. Even more terrifying is that many drivers, in order to save on commercial insurance, only buy the mandatory third-party insurance required by the state and still go out to work. These exhausted drivers, struggling on the edge of bankruptcy, drive vehicles that lack proper maintenance, traveling through every corner of the city. When they are forced to gamble with their own lives to make ends meet, it's no longer just a tragedy for the industry. It's a massive contradiction and safety risk that society as a whole needs to confront. In this cutthroat competition within the ride-hailing industry, platforms play a key and highly controversial role. They use their capital advantage and technological barriers to build a seemingly efficient but actually exploitative digitized fortress. The drivers are trapped in it, becoming digital laborers under algorithmic control, almost losing all their bargaining power. A driver who used to work as a full-time chauffeur for an employer switched to driving for a ride-hailing platform, thinking he could escape the exploitation of his boss.
15000我跟你说根本就花不了15000全能落在自己口袋里
Before, when I earned 15,000 yuan, there wasn't much expense. All of the 15,000 could actually make it into my pocket. Now, working in ride-hailing, I don't even want to pay for parking. Seriously, every penny I earn feels so hard-earned. If you're not doing this job, it doesn't matter. But if you are, you have to count every cost, because there's no free lunch.
就短期的你可以就是你长期的10年8年啊
This job is fine short-term if you need quick money, but long-term, 10 years, 8 years, 15 years, 20 years, don't even think about it. It's especially bad for your health, and it's all about picking up one order after another. The platform controls the profits, so if you want to make big money, you'll need to invest time and physical exertion. No matter how much you drive, your income will stay about the same, and it's getting lower because the entry barrier is too low. The platform's commission mechanism is the first heavy burden on the drivers. A ride-hailing driver from Guizhou showed just how cold and ruthless the platform can be.
太他妈黑了，真的。
It's so damn shady. The passenger said 123 yuan for a shared ride. After the driver completed the order, he had to pay more than 80 yuan in highway tolls and for a 120-kilometer trip. In the end, the driver only took home 80.6 yuan. That means after 120 kilometers, the driver earned less than 1 yuan per kilometer. That's bad enough, but the commission was nearly 40%. I thought that was the end of it, but a few hours later, the 80 plus yuan the driver earned was deducted by the platform, and the reason given was refund to the passenger. The driver was confused, wondering why a refund was necessary. So he added the passenger on WeChat and asked, "Did you file a complaint?" The passenger said no. He then told the passenger that the platform had mysteriously deducted his money and asked, "Did you get refunded?" The passenger confirmed they hadn't received any refund. It turns out that the passenger booked through one platform, but after it took the order, it transferred it to another platform. The two platforms together took nearly 40% in commission. They used this trick of double accounting to bypass the Ministry of Transport's rule limiting commission to 30%. What's even more infuriating is that after the second platform deducted the money, they claim it was transferred to the first platform, but the first platform didn't acknowledge it. The money was bounced back and forth, and in the end, no one knows which platform took the money. One netizen commented, "A regime that tolerates this kind of fraud, and there are so many cases, shows it has lost control over social order and lost its legitimacy to rule." Another passenger's experience further proves the extreme price suppression by the platform.
你们敢信吗？今天我打网约车。
Can you believe it? Today I took a ride-hailing car, and for an 8-kilometer trip, I only paid 9 yuan. Yes, 9 yuan. Normally, I would have been secretly happy about such a cheap fare, but today, sitting in the car, I don't even dare open the window. The driver was wearing a mask, and he was eerily silent the whole ride. The car was pretty cramped, and it felt suffocating. All I could think was, does this 9 yuan cover his gas money? Does it cover his car insurance and maintenance? The platform still takes a commission. How much is he even making on this ride? A couple of years ago, you would pay 5 or 6 yuan for a 2 to 3 kilometer motorcycle ride, and now a 4-wheeled ride-hailing car is cheaper than a cup of milk tea.
This kind of pricing strategy, far below cost, is a typical example of platforms using capital for dumping. Initially, these local Chinese platforms use high subsidies to attract drivers and passengers, quickly taking over the market and driving out competitors like Uber. As one netizen said, the platform monopolized the market with capital-backed discounts. Now that they've got the monopoly, it's only natural they start to cash in. Once they've taken the bait, can you avoid the hook? Once the monopoly is established, platforms start harvesting by constantly lowering driver income and increasing commission rates to generate profit. Drivers and passengers become the source of these monopoly profits. The platform's algorithm is a core tool for all this exploitation. It's like an invisible hand precisely calculating how to make drivers generate the most value for the platform without quitting right away. The order allocation system, reward rules, and penalty clauses are all designed with this goal in mind. Drivers, in order to get orders, can only passively accept the algorithm's scheduling, staying online for long hours, and constantly running around. The struggles faced by delivery drivers are just like those of ride-hailing drivers, and in some ways, even more severe. Like ride-hailing drivers, the majority of delivery drivers are unemployed young people and middle-aged individuals. When millions of people flood into this seemingly low-entry, quick-money industry, the extreme oversupply inevitably leads to continued price drops and intense industry competition.
你们点个外卖知道为什么都送这么快吗？
Do you know why delivery orders are delivered so quickly? It only takes a few minutes for your food to arrive. Want to know why? Because there are no orders. The seemingly contradictory statement reveals a harsh reality of the industry. On one hand, consumers demand the fast service. On the other hand, drivers, due to a shortage of orders, have to rush to grab them and shorten delivery times, leading to extreme competition. The platform's exploitation of delivery riders is systematic. Just like with ride-hailing, the algorithm is the platform's sharpest weapon, calculating every order's time, route, and distance down to the second. Through a strict reward and punishment system, the platform forces riders to push the limits of traffic regulations and personal safety. Speeding, going the wrong way, running red lights, these dangerous actions have become everyday routines for riders just to ensure on-time delivery. A young man exhausted to the point of fainting on his electric bike is the tragic symbol of this high-intensity, high-risk job. They're saying, men deliver food or drive for ride-hailing. Whether you're from an elite 985 or 211 university, women do live streaming sales. Whether you're from a 985 or 2112, it captures the harsh reality that China's younger generation faces in the job market with almost brutal precision. The exploitation by live streaming platforms is just as shocking, even worse in some cases. According to reports, these platforms take at least half the tips received by streamers. This means that most of the gifts fans give out of love and support end up in the platform's pockets. The high channel tax leaves countless young women who dreamed of achieving financial freedom through live streaming only serving to fill the platform's financial reports. One netizen pointed out, you get the kind of enterprises that reflect the government. This laissez-faire approach to capital's unchecked expansion and the disregard for workers' rights is at the root of all these chaotic phenomena. Faced with a growing new employment group of ride-hailing drivers, delivery riders, and others, the Chinese authorities have not focused on improving their labor rights. Instead, they have chosen their familiar path, strengthening control. On April 27, the General Office of the Communist Party issued a high-level document, clearly instructing that ideological and political guidance should be strengthened for those so-called new employment groups, guiding them to listen to the party and follow the party. According to official data, this new employment group totals 84 million people, accounts for 21% of the total workforce. This group includes couriers, delivery riders, ride-hailing drivers, and online streamers. The group is characterized by several distinct features. Youth, mostly born in the 1980s and 1990s, high mobility, loosely organized, but heavily reliant on internet platforms, with strong online mobilization and information dissemination capabilities. In the authorities' view, These 84 million people are indisposable cogs that keep the cities running, but they also represent a potential enormous source of instability. Chinese affairs expert Wang He pointed out that the primary purpose behind this move by the Communist Party is the fear that this historically similar floating population group may lose control and even rebel. To address this, the authorities established a powerful Central Social Work Department whose tasks include setting up party organizations within platform economies and using methods like algorithmic intervention to force drivers and riders into compliance. Although the official document is full of warm words like service and rights protection, experts believe that this is pure deception, and the real intent is ideological control, not solving actual problems. This focus on control without addressing public grievances is akin to tightening the valve of a pressure cooker. When economic depression forces tens of millions into the gig economy, and the last refuge is blocked by the state's powerful surveillance, the historical logic of government forcing the people to rebel begins to emerge. History has repeatedly shown that the collapse of any dynasty or regime has at its roots in economic collapse and the loss of public trust. When the lower class can no longer survive, the energy they unleash to simply exist is enough to destroy even the seemingly strongest rule. This is a precursor to revolution. The despair of 84 million people is now converging into a powerful force that could change history. For the rulers, continuing to oppose this force is like placing themselves at the mouth of a volcano about to erupt.